I'm Meredith.
I'm Elise.
This is your 20s. Okay, ready? Hi, guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elise.
I am Meredith.
We are both seniors in college,
Yeah.
and we are going to start this little podcast thing.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing podcasts for
a minute.
Yeah. Like starting over the summer. Well, no, before then, right? A little bit before then.
Yeah. And it kind of like, I had the idea, well, we had the idea to do something, and then I had the idea to do a podcast, and it fell through with another girl I was doing it with, and now we are here. But everything works out for a reason.
Exactly.
Because we were meant to do this podcast together.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I feel like for me, I have always been a talker, but I also bottle things up in a very, like, unhealthy way. And so I think this will actually be very therapeutic for me to, like, get these thoughts out, but also be able to do something with my thoughts.
Me too. You gotta talk shit out, you know?
Yeah.
Talk it out.
I'm excited. This is going to be good. I can feel it already.
So this show is going to be called This Is Your 20s. And kind of like what we want to do with the show is, one, be a voice, especially for women, for every step of your 20s, because I'm 21, Meredith is 21, and we know that we have a lot going on in the next decade of our lives. It's going to be a roller coaster, so we want to kind of guide ourselves through it, through this podcast, and this podcast, and guide you through it.
Also, I think part of like doing it now too is that now that we're seniors in college, Elise and I actually met the first day of freshman year here at DePaul. And
that's cute shit.
So we've literally known each other from day one, and we've both changed so much.
Yeah,
and I
crazy.
know that that's like very cliche. Of course you change when you're in college, but I think it's also going to be really cool to be able to like track our growth backwards as well.
True.
And then see where we are now. And then, I mean, it just goes to show within 4 years, your life can literally completely change. And so thinking about 4 years from now is like a little freaky, but also really exciting.
So exciting.
So it's going to be nice to be able to kind of reflect back on this and the tips that we have now, our younger selves when we're 24, 25.
Yeah. And even, like, my friends now are, like, turning 22, and I'm like, what is happening? Because I remember when I was being in high school and being like, oh, seniors in college are so scary. Like, they're so old. And now it's us. I'm like...
Well, and, like, I turned 22 on, like, October 11th.
Oh, my gosh.
Very soon. And I feel like...
It's not loud.
I feel like there's such a difference between being 18 years old when you start college and being 22.
Yes.
Like, that's a big growth jump period in your life.
I wouldn't, if I had a conversation with myself at 18, I would not even recognize myself.
No. We don't know her.
We don't know her. She's gone.
She's long gone. But also, I feel like this is a good way to, despite how embarrassing I was when I was 18, like still honor littler versions of ourselves.
Right. And when I have like all this knowledge when I'm like 29 or something, I want to look back at like my 21-year-old self and be like, wow, she was still really cool.
Yeah.
And she was trying her best. And she knew she would make it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
True. It'll be cool. It'll be a good little time capsule. But also I think really valuable for people who are in the same age range as us, a little bit older, a little bit younger, who are just trying to figure their shit out. Obviously, we don't have any of our shit figured out, which is exactly why we're making this podcast.
Yeah, not one bit.
So
not
hopefully,
one bit of shit figured out.
No, yeah, I got nothing right now.
Like, we were walking on the way here, and like we were just kind of like debriefing, like, how are you doing? Like, how's school? Blah blah blah. And we were both like, damn, I'm kind of drowning.
This is a weird, like one of the weirdest, I think, transition phases of my life right now.
Senior year.
And I don't know. I think it's just important to be able to like give people who are about to be in the same boat tips, that we have, but also to just let people know that like if you don't have your shit figured out, like it's okay. Most of us don't.
Yeah.
And even if you do, I'm convinced that most of the people that claim that they have their shit together don't actually have their shit together, but they're
Facts.
just pretending like they do until they get their shit together.
Yeah, which is honestly a move. Like,
That's how you have to do
that's
it.
how you have to do it, because you gotta like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer in fake it till you make it.
Absolutely.
Because I know a lot of people, even like, think of like millionaires, like who are still really sad inside. Like they're still faking it till they make it, and
Right.
they figured out like the financial part of their life, and maybe not like the mental happiness part of their life, and it's all about balance, right?
Yeah.
But they have faked it, and they have made
Yeah,
it.
and we think that they make it.
Right.
Like that's just, and that goes with like the media being a highlight reel and of all of that, which is an inherent problem in of itself. But still, like, it's just ironic that we think that the people that have it together probably are
Don't.
broken on the inside.
Right.
Okay, so we got off on a bit of a tangent,
Yes.
didn't we?
So what do we want to address? Why don't you tell the fans?
Okay, so what we want with this show in all bolded caps in our shared Google Doc. To be a voice, especially for women, for
Yes.
every step of your 20s. That doesn't mean if you're a man listening to this podcast that this doesn't, fit for you.
No,
But
fuck off. You can't listen. Get off now.
but because we are young women, obviously we're going to be a little bit more relatable. But I expect if you are a prominent male in my life, that you better be fucking listening to this podcast.
True. Where the real friends at?
Yeah. And then we also want to address real issues that 20-year-olds, not just 20-year-olds, but 20-something-year-olds go through. And so we have made a little list so far, and I'm sure as time goes on, this will expand and kind of like branch off into different things within each one of these categories. But we have money, jobs, mental health, what to do with your life, motivation, fitness, body image, social media, relationships. Next to that says, ooh, shit. Friendships and new beginnings.
Aw, new beginnings.
New beginnings.
How cute.
I was just listening to a Mike Posner song today. I'm going to look it up right now.
Mike Posner has
You
been
know the
killing it.
song, the Move On by Mike
Oh,
Posner?
yeah. I've heard of it.
I was like very moved by a lyric from that today, and what we just said reminded me of this. New beginnings. It says, beginnings always hide themselves in ends. How
Facts.
fitting is that we're about to graduate and we think this is the end of an era, which it is, but it's also the beginning of the rest of our lives.
Beginning of our lives. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck. But yeah,
So, yeah.
those are real issues like money, jobs, mental health, what to do with your life. Like all of those you're gonna hit a roadblock in your 20s, and we are too, and we want to talk about it, be real with you about it. Yeah, I really want to keep it real on this show. Like
Yeah.
no bullshit, because I don't want to pretend like everything is fine when it's not fine, and you know.
Yeah. I think that goes along with mental health too. Like,
Facts.
I'm a big advocate of mental health just because I've dealt with it so intensely myself. And so, like, the more I realize, like, opening up about things like this, the more power I think it gives you over your situation.
Mhm.
And I've started to be able to, like, be an open book about certain things I think, in my opinion, I think is a strength and not a vulnerability.
Mhm.
And I was taught most of my life that, like, letting people in on your dirty laundry or airing that out to people is, like, a weakness. And you should always kind of try to appear to be, like, you have your shit
Okay,
together all the
yeah.
time. And the more I've tried to, like, pretend like I have my shit together, the more I literally fall apart. So
Yes, it's okay not to be okay. That's a
Absolutely.
big lesson I learned in
That's-
college, I guess.
I think that's, like, the overarching lesson I've learned
Mhm.
in college, with lots of other lessons in there, but the big one is that, I think. So
I think we sound sad. We're not sad. We're really happy people. We are very happy.
yeah, we're happy.
But we've also been through a lot of shit, and we feel like we are able to take that shit and help other people with it. And
yeah,
that's
like,
why we're doing
let's
this.
make some positives out of it.
Yeah.
Leave a little bit of a legacy or something. I don't know. So that's kind of the gist of why we're here.
Yeah. Oh, also, each week we will have a different voice on the show or guest, and they're gonna tell their story and like kind of what they've been through, how they can help you, give you advice, and there's some really There's some really good guests lined
pretty.
up for this podcast.
There's some really pretty guests.
There's some really gorgeous people coming in. No, but they're
Inside and
they have a lot of insight and they're really amazing people, and I'm excited to get them in the studio. So thank you for tuning in on this episode. And we're going to try to do this like as a weekly, maybe bi-weekly thing because we're really busy students. But
Yeah.
stay tuned. I'm excited.
I'm Meredith.
I'm Elise.
You may not have your shit figured out.
But that's okay.
This is your 20s.